Thank you, Rana, for having me. Well,
Always
as
our pleasure, sir.
the wonderful video report that Q News had
True,
a
sir.
few
It's an
moments.
amazing report.
Yes, indeed it was, and it's very insightful historically. It basically reveals that Trump is not merely a madman, as some might think, and that this has been among the U.S. ambitions since the mid-19th century. The United States has a history of expansionism. That is a given. This was a state built on an expansionist policy throughout its history since its independence in the 1770s. And there were attempts to annex or acquire Greenland in 1867 in the era of President Andrew Johnson. Shortly, by the way, right after the purchase of Alaska from Russia, for example. And also there was another attempt in 1910, another attempt in 1946, as the report mentioned, and Trump in 2019 opened the issue, causing an actual diplomatic crisis with the Danish government. Back then, Prime Minister Frederiksen, and she still is the Prime Minister of Denmark, uh, over the spat over the matter of Greenland, Trump canceled her state visit to the United States. So that shows how seriously Trump is taking this matter, and he might be considering that he will see to it that it might be realized during his second term. The importance of Greenland to the United States lies in three factors, basically. The first one is geopolitical. It's a security concern. It is the United States is an Arctic power. Denmark is an Arctic power, and many countries are competing over influence over the melting ice cap in the Arctic and the sheer resources over there. And Russia is an Arctic power as well. So it's very important for the United States to maintain a permanent foothold over there. And in accordance with the 1951 treaty, they do have a military presence in Greenland, and they do have the right to utilize.
Dr. Osman, sorry to interrupt you, but considering the consistent call by the United States to take over Greenland, do you see, sir, that this is a very important stage in the history of, and all the history that you've been saying now and you've been discussing and tackling in your narrative? Do you see that the United States will reach the goal of taking Greenland easily?
Of course, it will never be easy, and I do not think
Is it possible, sir?
it's possible. It's very possible, actually, because Greenland is a country. It might be a humongous piece of real estate, as Trump would call it at some point. However, its inhabitants, it's a very sparsely inhabited area. It's only inhabited by 50,000 people, or about 50 or 55,000 people. Those people are not enough to pack the Cairo Stadium, as you might imagine. And also the people of Greenland, the Inuits, the indigenous people of Greenland, and they are the vast majority of the populace, they actually demand independence from Denmark. According to recent polls, over 70%, the last one was, I think, in 2021, 70% of the people of Greenland, the Greenlanders or the Greenlandic people, demand total independence from Denmark. And this recent poll even suggested that some might be willing to join the United States for more economic benefits. And the United States might even take advantage of any secessionist movement. Let's not forget that Prime Minister Agde of Greenland and his government and his party are a separatist party. And they advocate for independence. And they do have a constitutional right to hold a plebiscite or a referendum for independence. So if they go independent and they are out of the European Union and the European Common Market, economically they cannot survive without another patron, and that might be the United States. And it doesn't have to be annexation. They might have a special status, for example, like Puerto Rico, for example, within the United States as a U.S. Overseas territory or domain, or whatever you want to call it. So they can have some sort of arrangement of having some autonomy under the United States. However, this is very premature, but what I'm sure of, this will cause a major diplomatic crisis between the European Union as a whole, and of course Denmark especially, and the United States.